The Nuzlocke is the perfect Pokemon challenge because the core rules are incredibly easy to follow. So what if I absolutely ruined that by adding every Nuzlocke rule ever? That is exactly what I set out to do by beating Pokémon SoulSilver with every rule that I could possibly conceive of from every Nuzlocke variant. From the OG PokeTuber ones, all the way down to obscure versions buried deep within the Nuzlocke subreddit, I crammed each and every possible rule that I could into this one SoulSilver Nuzlocke. Obviously, I'm excluding any variants here that involve multiple people, or ones that blatantly conflict other rules. Would this even be possible? Well, there's only one way for me to find out. Picking your starter Pokemon is one of the most important decisions that you'll have to make during your Nuzlocke journey, but this time I'm leaving it up entirely to chance. My trainer ID dictates that we'll be starting this adventure with Cyndaquil, but this decision is largely meaningless for me as I'm forced to switch to the first Pokemon that I catch out in the wild. After exposing our evil rival, I head out to Route 29 where we get our real starter Hoothoot. Luckily for me, this Pokemon is a real loser. I mean, imagine being a Pokemon from a single or double stage evolution line. Not a single good one comes to mind. This catch also marks off the one unique flying type encounter I'm allowed during this challenge. The unique lock only allows for one of each type on my party, but I decided to expand this to include all of my encounters and will modify it to only include primary typings. Since there are no primary or mono flying type Pokemon in this game, I'm treating all of the normal flying types as if they were pure flying to prevent our feathered friends from feeling left out. With our starter situation now settled, it was time to find our lovely and charming Hoothoot a partner. It's 2024, meaning the wedlock rules feel just a tad outdated, so I'm updating them to allow any and all Pokemon to wed however they please. Rickles the Hoothoot discovers her true lover in Rickler the Rattata. She's forced to make the first move as Rickler is rather timid by nature, but this will actually work out in our favor. That is because I will spend the rest of the playthrough crafting my strategy around this one measly bullet point. The no-ko rule. A single one-hit knockout will result in the death of a Pokemon who simply could not hold back their power. Really takes always play around the crit to a whole new level. This effectively eliminates any hope of soloing the game with one of our stronger losers. This rule in tandem with the wedlock restrictions is what made this challenge extremely tricky to navigate around. Oh, and have I mentioned that we can't use held items either? I was confident that my pair of lovers could defeat Faulkner without an accompanying couple, so I threw the two into harm's way and hoped that they would come out on top. Rickler gave his all to protect Rickles and swiftly took Pidgey down in 2 blows. He then fought valiantly to take down the stronger bird all by himself, but his timid nature is ultimately what led to his demise. Rickles, overcome with grief, vowed to avenge her fallen partner and let out a massive uproar, striking down Faulkner's ace with her cries. We exited the gym victorious, but all I could feel was the sense of loss. The tragic demise of a loving couple. Fortunately, time heals all wounds, and a whopping 3 minutes later, Rickles had found a new partner in Pickles, the Dunsparce. This new couple seemed very happy, so I decided to play matchmaker once more and pair this joke of a Pokemon with her comedian. I can just see the two of them growing old together and living such happy lives, can't you? Gyarados constantly nagging Magcargo about how they were both so ugly back in their early days, but have really grown into themselves. Some, maybe more than others. The team was really starting to come together. The partnerships and bonds these Pokemon shared made me feel more and more attached to them than those of Nuzlocke past. If anything else were to happen to them, I would feel absolutely devastated. Oh, well, that's mighty unfortunate. And the no-ko clause claims its first victim. That one is 100% on me for not playing around the crit range on this optional hiker's Geodude. With the death of her lover, Pickles felt completely isolated, forced to constantly third wheel with a couple that never stops laughing. I knew that I had to find her a different partner as quickly as I could. However, first I'd be forced to stop Team Rocket from raiding Slowpoke well, but more importantly, rescuing Kurt. The entire reason I had to attempt this challenge in Heart Gold or Soul Silver was because I was also doing a ball lock. Hence, the importance of someone who can greatly aid us in being able to play around this additional clause. If I just quickly knock out all of these Team Rocket grunts, I'll get Kurt up and at him and find Pickle. Alright, well, Pickles is dead. God damn it, the confusion. Or she could join Rickles and Rickler in the death box. At this point, I knew that I couldn't continue with this many losses, so I decided to reset the run and try again. It is pretty ironic that adding all of these additional rules all but invalidates the second core rule of the Nuzlocke challenge. It's almost like adding a ton of rules to your challenge doesn't necessarily make it more challenging, but rather significantly more tedious. Just a thought though. Rickles and Pickles rekindled their love after the Rickler sacrificed himself for the greater good yet again. It was at this point that I decided to treat each gym badge like a checkpoint, because I wasn't really interested in wasting my life resetting a run as tedious as this one, because I accidentally ran into Juggler Irwin in his level 2 Voltorb. Everyone's favorite unexpected couple rejoined the fray, and this time Dunsparce successfully evacuated Kurt out of Slowpoke well with no issues. Well, Rickles did die because of another Oko, but other than that, no issues. Bugsy is next up on the chopping block with a whole host of annoying bugs that nobody wants to deal with. A guy like that seems super seedy with intentions of monitoring my online activity and trying to swipe my personal data. If only there was something I could use to block him from doing that. Oh wow, would you look at that? It's the sponsor of today's video. Surfshark is much more than just a VPN. It allows you to virtually travel the world, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, block intrusive ads that get in your way, and more. Over the summer, I was in Japan as the NBA playoffs were going on. And thanks to Surfshark, I was able to connect to a server in the US and watch from my phone on a crowded Japanese subway as a rookie Cason Wallace locked up CJ McCollum to secure my hometown team the win. Thanks to Surfshark, I never have to worry about missing a moment of my favorite sports team. Not to mention, there is plenty of price discrimination when it comes to booking flights, but Surfshark has you covered there too. Surfshark also provides a powerful antivirus software that secures everything from your webcam to your files. You can have safety knowing that you're protected 24/7 with immediate notifications and custom protection with regular, thorough scans. Go to surfshark.com/CaptainKid for 4 extra months of Surfshark. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no need to hesitate to try it out. Now, let's go exterminate some bugs of our own. Bugsy was the guardian of our next save point, and while there was certainly a Pokemon that I felt could help out with this fight, I didn't really see these two getting along well. So I decided to forego the Rock Snake in Union Cave for the time being in hopes that Pickles could solo this fight all by herself. And well, maybe that wasn't the best idea I've ever had. Oh, focus energy, come on. No way this kills. Oh, I think we just roll out. I think we roll out. Don't crit, don't crit. Come on, no crits, no crits. No crit zone. Unfortunate. Pickles might not have been able to seal the deal, but I still had faith in this one. Okay, come on, you just got to make it through. One more. Stay asleep for one more. Does Bugsy have heals? I don't know. We're just going to hit a rock throw. Yep, he does. Of course he does. Cheater ass kid. Okay, come on. Stay asleep. Stay asleep. Stay asleep. Yes, come on, a joke. You got to hit this. Yes. Let's go. Okay, we got a pair. We're still living. I never thought I'd see the day that I'd be relying on the back of this Pokemon to carry one of my runs. Obviously, these two would not be able to do it alone, so I needed to scour for my next passionate pair. It was finally time to revisit Union Cave and make use of Kirk's heavy balls. This sandbag would soon find his sweet slugger, but he'd have to make it out of the upcoming rival fight first. And how did I plan on getting past a level 18 Croconaw with this team? Well, here's how. All right, Sturdy, I need you to pull through. Let's just enact Gen 5 Sturdy right here, and then we land a Screech. There's no way we don't die to Water Gun, though. Hold, Sturdy, hold, sandbag. Okay, come on. Show me that 4-time super effective. Actually, there's no way it sees. It might see kill with bite. Oh, that is so unlucky. That is so unlucky, dude. Come on, scary face, scary face. I know you want a scary face. I mean, I guess this thing does have like 5 attacks. All right, we're gonna. Oh, just okay. Wait, maybe we've got him in the cycle. He's cooked. He's so cooked. I mean, there's like no world where Slugma can do this, though, right? This is like the worst team I've ever seen. Yes. Okay, this Croconaw sucks. This Croconaw's terrible. Okay, wait. We might be in this. We might have a chance. Come on, scary face again. Scary face again. Okay. Oh, hold. All right, we need Onyx to clutch up. Come on. Come on. Please. Yes. Okay. Come on. One more. Yes. Okay. There's still the Zubat in the back. We still have to deal with the Zubat in the back. If this supersonics, then we switch out. Okay. Come on! Onyx is gonna clutch! Please. Let's go! Let's go! Onyx clutched up! Useless Pokemon. You're telling me! You just lost to a Magikarp, a Slugma, and Onyx with Croconaw? I can confidently say that this fight will go down as one of the most memorable fights in my entire Nuzlocking career. This whole challenge is worth it just for that one moment alone, even if I had to bend the rules just a tad to make it work. I felt that Onyx was ready to find his partner, and the entire reason for doing that fight was because our rival was guarding something very important. This is the most important NPC that we've come across. Headbutt trees would open up the loser of all losers. Normally, I would have both my normal and flying type here duped out thanks to the unique lock rules, but luckily I got Heracross on my first try, so this sandbag finally found his boxer. Heracross, however, might be nerfed by this rule more than anyone else on the team. Not being able to sweep the upcoming Whitney fight with a couple of brick breaks was definitely a bummer, but there was a silver lining. Normally, these two moves are what get you going when it comes to Heracross, but what caught my eye the most was its level 7 move, Fury Attack. Remember, multi-hit moves bypass the no-co clause, so as long as I just run through the game Fury Attacking away, I've got nothing to worry about. Whitney would be the first test subject, and her infamous cow would be the perfect training ground for our new strategy. I've got bad news. We've got the ultimate weapon, Boxer. I think this probably lives a brick break, if I'm being honest. But I don't want to crit it, so I just need to hit it once, you know? Stomp. Okay, that's going to do big damage still. Oh, just kidding. Oh, it's a speed tie? Oh, this is horrible. Come on. Crit through. Crit through. Come on, Boxer. Okay, you just got to win a speed tie. You just got to win a speed tie, Boxer. I believe. Oh, just kidding. Okay, she's in a super potion. All right, you got to win one more. Just crit. She's throwing. She's throwing. Come on, Boxer, I believe. How many of those do you have? Just crit through. Come on. She can't keep stalling us out forever. Oh, no. Come on. Hit these. You hit these. Let's go. That's too easy. The Goldenrod gym had been cleared out, but there was still much to be done within the city itself. Of course, I'm referring to Voltorb Flip, baby. Of the Goldenrod rewards, there is a single one who qualifies as a loser, and for once, I think the title is pretty fitting. Gatshrew was the perfect partner to our newly acquired group of eggs, whose cute Riz was simply too much for her to resist. For the first time, the party is completely filled, and with the plain badge now in hand, our comedian has gained the confidence needed to start busting out his best material. On the path to Ecruteak City where Morty awaits, I pester the road-blocking Sudowoodo enough to provoke a battle. Onyx is more or less a steel type in waiting, so until I can get my hands on a metal coat, Sudowoodo will simply have to wait his turn before fulfilling its rock-hard role. So I think the nickname fits. Arriving in Ecruteak and heading over to the Burn Tower finds our rival yet again waiting to berate us. This time, my team is much stronger, and I've also added a new little wrinkle to my strategy. At level 22, Onyx learns Sandstorm, which is another way of bypassing the no-co clause. If you haven't noticed by now, this is the centralizing rule of the entire run. By utilizing the Sandstorm chip damage, Boxer and Sandbag just barely sneak by to defeat the rival. With that nuisance out of the way, I'm able to find our next encounter, Coughing. And, well, I think you already know who she belongs with. It's finally time to take on Morty, and Johto's ghoulish gym leader is about to expose just how devilish all of these rules truly are. As the fights start to have more and more Pokemon, the restriction of only being allowed to switch between two of your own becomes that much more punishing. A restriction that could be mitigated by, oh, I don't know, being allowed to OHKO my opponent's Pokemon. Needless damage was bound to rack up when I was not only limited to swapping between two Pokemon, but I was practically forced to. Morty is a perfect example of this, and his team's core strategy revolves around inflicting damage with a status move that is only curable by swapping out. Needless to say, things did not go well. Our resident jokester uses her meek stats to take down Ghastly unscathed, but Morty immediately responds by throwing out Gengar, and everything quickly spirals out of control. A massive Shadow Ball takes a huge chunk out of Gyarados, and I would love to be able to just click bite and get this thing off my screen, but yeah. He quickly rips through my first couple, and then it's on to the next one. He offers me a brief glimmer of hope by mean-looking Heracross, and his most threatening Pokemon falls. But Haunter comes in, and since a Shadow Claw kill is off the table, I'm forced to risk Boxer getting put to sleep. Haunter wastes no time getting into his hypnotizing routine, rendering Heracross useless for the rest of the fight. Onyx comes in before Heracross gets her dreams eaten, but he just barely fails to win the 1v1. The sleep luck is not on my side as Heracross meets the same fate. Gatshrew pulls through and takes down Morty's final two Haunter with a string of rollouts, but these losses were far too great to sustain. It was time to take a break and come back stronger than before. Attempt 3! I reset the entire game because I knew I would need a different approach in order to win. I planned out all of the different encounters I would need to target and which Pokemon I would want to pair together for the best chance at success. This time around, our trainer ID dictated that the temporary starter Pokemon would be Totodile, meaning that we'd have to deal with the rival's Chikorita line throughout the playthrough. Hopefully that will be just a tad easier to manage. More importantly, I knew that I needed our real starter to survive for much longer than it had in the previous attempts. One of Noctowl's abilities is Insomnia, which prevents it from being put to sleep. Paired with its normal typing, that we pretend doesn't exist, it is the perfect answer to all of the problems that Morty posed in the previous go-round. This time, Rickles pursues Pickles the Dunsparce as his one true love. Having the better early game against the first three gym leaders is really what he found the most appealing. However, things immediately got complicated. Okay, we have to be very careful to dodge this guy. This guy, run Ender, known... I wasn't planning on enacting Shiny Claws until this guy showed up, but I certainly won't complain. The Pistler creates a threesome who all now have their relationship statuses set to "it's complicated." Look, I'm not one to judge. Shiny Claws sort of acts as the golden rule in that it can essentially supersede all of the other rules that have been put into place. Just view them as little bonus prizes for getting lucky, or for good planning. Anyways, the newfound trio has no issues getting through Faulkner, and because I have slightly different plans for where I want to use these three, it'll be the Ricks who will go on to roll straight through Bugsy. Unfortunately, it did cost Pickles her life as I wanted to use Rollout to sweep through all three of his Pokemon. A worthy sacrifice for your lovers to carry on. This is the point where pairs really start to deviate from the original plan. Instead of using Heracross or Fortress for my one allotted bug-type Pokemon, I decided to try my contest luck and net myself a Scyther. Scyther is one of only 3 Pokemon lines available pre-Kanto that has access to the move False Swipe, which, as it turns out, is pretty valuable in a challenge where Okos are banned. The other benefit here being that I got to catch my Scyther in a Sport Ball, meaning I wouldn't have to waste one of the other precious ball types. Our new dominant force of nature needed to find her perfect pair, and who better than the extremely meek and submissive this Pokemon. Pairing the future Scizor to be with a Pokemon that has a 4 times resistance to those scary fire type attacks that Scizor is weak to seemed like a match made in heaven. I marched the new pair straight into Whitney, and Dom is allowed to set up 3 Swords Dances on her lead Clefairy, with max attack has no problems executing the new centralizing strategy for the rest of the run. With 3 badges and only 1 death, this attempt was in much better shape than the previous one. Sudowoodo returns to his chair, and his wife, well, I can't show you what she's been up to. On the surface, this team looks much worse than the previous Morty team, but in actuality, it was far more suited for a clean Morty sweep, and that's all thanks to the power of Rickles' Insomnia. Weak moves that would normally never be used, like Peck, end up being perfect for this, as I'm able to break through the imaginary Focus Sash and then fire off the more powerful move that will actually be able to take down my opponent's Pokemon. The fight is still not a walk in the park, however, as Noctowl getting cursed by Morty's first Haunter forces a switch into the Pistler, who immediately gets trapped with the Gengar, and another unfortunate bout of sleep luck results in the death of our shiny rat. Enraged by the loss of his lover, Rickles comes in and cleans house, but the damage has been done. The blessing that was given to us at the start of the run by the Pistler had now faded, and we were on our own. It was heartbreaking to lose a legend like that, but it ultimately meant that the team would be much better positioned post-Morty than it was last time. I still had all of the tools that I needed for victory. Beating Morty opened up a vast new pool of encounters by giving us access to Surf. Now I could head over to the Lake of Rage and make use of the shiny claws how I initially intended, using my standard encounter here to secure a surf bot capable of transporting us throughout the region. I promptly overrode it with the shiny, girthier version that awaited us. Something that our good friend Sudowoodo here is all too familiar with. Rickles, still stricken with guilt over the death of his previous two partners, decided it would be best to pull away from the dating pool for a while, so this opened the door to finding a new pair of lovers. This one, arguably, being the most important to the entire run. It was back off to Union Cave to round up Johnson the Onyx. This time with full confidence that Johnson would be with us until she could reach her full strength. There was only one Pokemon suitable for this prime bachelorette, and I am, of course, talking about Cloyster. Cloyster is unique in this game as it is the only Pokemon available in Generation 4 with the ability Skill Link. If you're unfamiliar with this ability, it guarantees that all multi-hit moves will always hit the maximum amount of times, which, in case you have forgotten, is pretty important here. Thankfully, I managed to fish up Virginia the Shelder on my first try, and at level 20, he already comes fully equipped with his most important tool, Icicle Spear. Don't get too excited though, as this isn't the same monster that had to be banned from Black-White OU singles. Icicle Spear has yet to receive that massive 15 base power per hit buff that makes it such a strong move on Cloyster, meaning that even hitting all 5 times is still just a whopping 50 base power. But for now, this is the best we've got, and it might be all we need given what's to come. We're not done playing matchmaker though, as it's time to go out and form yet another pair. Rickles, jealous of the bond that Johnson and Virginia formed, decided that he would go out and find a third partner. Luckily, he found someone who also shared his affinity for polyamory. I guess that's how this works. I don't really know if I'm being honest. Hopefully, this odd trend of Rickles' partners dying in the heat of battle doesn't continue, because I'd like to bring these two into the Elite Four. The current shape of this team just isn't going to cut it, so I decided to whip them into prime condition by testing their athletic capabilities in the Pokeathlon. Through their combined blood, sweat, and tears, all of that hard work paid off in the form of both a water and a leaf stone that would let Virginia and Ricklet reach their true potential. I picked up one additional pair while excavating the Johto region for every last resource I could manage before continuing my badge quest. There's really no reason to include them in the video, but the names were too funny not to. Hypno's one shining moment was playing the role of Bandit, responsible for stealing metal coats from Wild Magnemite. Eventually, I snagged the 2 that I need for both Scyther and Onyx, and voila! The team is finally complete. Chuck stands no chance now.
Holy dude. Thank you. Executor just doesn't like to clutch up on that fight.
Oh, you thought I was kidding? You know, I always have made fun of Chuck's awful team, but maybe he's just doing some strange hyper-restrictive challenge just like me. It really makes you view things through a new lens. We've reached that point that you always do in Johto games where the level curve is just god-awful, and the 6th gym leader has a lower level cap than the 7th, so we'll head back up to Mahogany Town to take on Price first. I'll have to make it through all of Team Rocket's headquarters and the lighthouse with just a few levels to spare. And when there's only a single Pokemon that can reliably take out these low-level Pokemon on my team, that becomes a bit of an issue. Thankfully, Virginia clears out both and stays under the cap, so I don't have to worry about using my other pairs who are significantly less capable of effectively dealing with low-level threats. This game is both a blessing and a curse, as I'm able to take advantage of the free shiny and extra Pokeball variants, but raid bosses like Fisherman Justin and his level 5 Magikarp can end my run if I'm not prepared. Price is yet another opportunity for our Dom and Sub duo to shine, and this time, Dom won't be doing all the work. Seal goes down to a false swipe wing attack combo, but once Piloswine comes in is when the situation turns bleak. Piloswine has Snow Cloak and is now faster than Dom thanks to the Icy Wind from Seal, so if it decides to set the hail for itself here, I could be in big trouble. But the actual outcome of this turn was an even worse scenario.
Nope. Okay, it goes for Mud Bomb. crit act drop on an 85% accurate move, dude. This is actually insane.
Thankfully, I ended up with the superior luck as a mud bomb miss sets up a U-turn kill, allowing Sub to enter the spotlight for the first time all run. Her time to shine was finally upon us, but could she live up to the pressure?
Oh, he got it! He got the boost! Oh, you were my goat if you do this. You're gonna need like 2 more, honestly, because you only have 5. All right, we need a boost. Big boost right here. Come on, sleep, talk, rest, sleep, talk, rest. Ice shard, that's fine. Come on, Sub. We need this. We need this. Let's see. That might be it. That might be it. Come on, Sub. Come on. Yes? Please, just hit the roll. Hit the roll. Come on, Sub. Yes! Slugma clears! Get absolutely frauded, Price.
The luck was certainly in my favor this time around. Luck will be much less of a factor during the next gym fight against Jasmine. Virginia and Johnson are the perfect power couple and have 0 issues navigating around her interesting team. With that, I now had 7 of the 8 Johto badges. The changes made to the plan from the get-go were really starting to bear fruit here, as we had made it much further with much fewer deaths, despite how many partners Rickles has gotten killed. As I mentioned earlier, the Elite Four team was set, but I wasn't too confident in how these 6 stacked up against Claire's troop of dragons. So I needed to pull out the dating apps and see what was available in my area. I still hadn't added a ghost or ice type Pokemon to my arsenal, and would you look at that? A handy ice path was conveniently located on our way to Blackthorn City. I heard that's where all the hot single MILFs hang out, and boy was I— okay, this has gone way too far. I promise, from here on out, there will be no more weird fictitious scenarios brought up when it comes to my Pokemon. Joining our newly acquired Sugar Mama was, of course, her Sugar Baby, who we picked up in Goldenrod. Oh yeah, I did fail to mention that we had to come back here to clear out Team Rocket, but outside of a hot wife and Bull Shinju, nothing of note happened. In addition to our newly formed couple, Sub evolved into a lovely Magcargo, and I played matchmaker for the final time. A beautiful, normal ghost couple who found love at first sight, walked off into the sunset, and were never seen again. Claire's gym is the 8th and final one of the run, and while you might think, oh, this is perfect, the dragon type gym will be the easiest of them all since you can just sweep through with the power of Icicle Spear Cloyster. Well, about that. A very effective strategy to breeze through all of the gym trainers, yes, but for Claire herself, I'd need to come up with a different approach. My idea? Spam Sand Attack with Sugar Baby until she goes down, and then let Sugar Mama fire off Ice Beam after Ice Beam until she can't Ice Beam no more. Would this strategy work? Only one way to find out.
Okay, Sugar Baby is not clutching up. He did not miss a single one. So Sugar Baby, let's hope you did your job. If not, then we just lose right here. We could crit, we could freeze, and hopefully it misses because we are just dead to bite. They're just kidding. We live on 4. We live with 4 HP. Sugar Mama holds. I thought there was no way. Oh, it low rolled that. Oh my God. There's a chance. Sugar Mama, you can do this. Yes, it's over. It's over, Claire. Come on, give us the freeze. Give us the crit. Sugar Mama, make it out alive. Hang in there, Sugar Mama. Hang in there. Oh, I thought maybe. I thought there was a universe. It can miss Hydro Pump. Yes. Come on, Sugar Mama. Clutch up. Hold. Oh, she lives. We got mid-roll on the bite. Oh my God.
Jinx might have survived the fight, but she did break the most important rule of all, the no-co clause. So we had to say sayonara to both her and her sugar baby. Claire, outraged by my blatant disregard for the rules of my own Nuzlocke, storms off and refuses to grant me the rising badge for defeating her with my immoral battle tactics. I desperately try to convince her grandpa that cheating is actually based, but he wasn't hearing it. So I eventually just lied and said that I win with honor or integrity or whatever until he forced Claire to give me the badge. With that, I was finally ready for the Elite Four, because Lugia doesn't deserve love. Johto's victory road is yet another complete joke, as there are almost no required trainers. Keyword, almost. We face off against our rival one final time, and if it weren't for our large level cap, we almost certainly would have been in deep trouble, as the fight was incredibly scary even with the odds heavily stacked against him. He must have really taken issue with that Ironmon video I uploaded. With our rival finally defeated, there were only 5 fights remaining. Sugar Mama's sacrifice allowed the 3 pairs that we've come to know and love to have one last shot at greatness. Would these 6 sweethearts be able to overcome the Johto Elite Four with every Nuzlocke rule ever? There's only one way to find out. Will starts off much like so many of the fights before him in this run, with the Dom and Sub tag team. Dom starts off strong by bullet punching the lead Xatu twice and then getting the necessary X-Scissor chip damage on Will's second Xatu that will allow Sub to come in and finish the job. Sub is forced to fight through a fit of confusion, but ultimately lands the finishing blow on Xatu and brings in Slowbro. Dom comes back in as Slowbro tries to take down her partner, but she fires back with 2 powerful X-Scissors. Really struggling to play around my own crits here. Dom plays the role of janitor and sweeps up both the Jinx and Executor in the back, keeping everyone safe through one Elite Four member. It is imperative to keep the entire team alive because sacrifices will be mandatory for the champion fight. If a single pair goes down during the Elite Four, the run is over. It is on to Koga, where yet again I will be heavily relying on these 2 to carry the team. Koga steps up to bat, and one singular steel type pretty much walls his entire team. Ariados, Fortress, Venomoth, and Crobat all go down with no issues whatsoever, but yet somehow this muck with literally no way of hitting Scizor became a problem.
Uh-oh, Dom, not like this. We're getting stalled out. Holy moly. You have to break through, Scizor. We can't. All right, come on. Dude! We can't let him get back up to full. If he gets back up to full, it's so over. Come on, bro. Okay, he's screeching, but we are immune to everything he has, so. Okay, now we gotta hit X-Scissor again. Watch, this is gonna be miss bullet punch 8 times in a row into X-Scissor crit. Oh my god. All right, we're just gonna have to. Holy. Oh my god, we might actually lose this. Okay, we hit through. Just don't crit. Okay, you can't miss bullet punch forever. Come on. Come on, please, Scizor. You got to do it. Oh, come on, Scizor, please. Yes. Oh, my God.
With that debacle out of the way, I was ready to take down Bruno and his horde of, mostly, fighting types. Ricklet would finally be making her battle debut in the Elite Four. This was her big moment to shine, and I really hoped that she would be able to pull through for me. With Leech Seed, Bullet Seed, and Sleep Powder, you'd have thought that this Pokemon would have gotten a lot more screen time, but better late than never. Hitmontop goes down easily to a Leech Seed Confusion combo, but Hitmonlee immediately comes in threatening Blaze Kicks. Rickles needs to channel some of that Morty dark energy in order to come in and win this 1v1, and he more than does so.
Okay, good. It sucks that we're slower. It doesn't matter anyways. Let's go! It all works out in the end. Rickles, the nimble Rickles.
Unfortunately, Rickles' luck doesn't last forever, as after landing a single extra sensory on Hitmonchan, he gets paralyzed by Thunder Punch and then fails to break through on the following turn. The low HP ends up working out slightly in my favor, as I'm able to bring Ricklet in on a Bullet Punch from Hitmonchan and avoid the potentially costly elemental punches. Ricklet clutches up by successfully dodging the one Ice Punch freeze and takes out the final Hitmon. With the biggest threats now out of the way, Onix is dealt with fairly easily, and Ricklet can then outspeed Machamp to land a Leech Seed, sealing Bruno's fate. Just one Elite Four member left. Once again, I would be turning to Dom and Sub, begging them to carry one last fight before making it to the champion. Karen's team looks like easy pickings for Dom, but Destiny Bond Gengar really throws a wrench into that plan thanks to the no-go clause. But that will have to be dealt with later. First, I need to break through her absolute wall of an Umbreon who tries to get cute by confusing Dom, but she always breaks through. Houndoom desperately wants to take her out with a flamethrower, but Sub can come in to soak the hit, once again proving how perfect they are for each other. Sub pulls out a miraculous victory in the face of adversity by clutching the Omni Boost in addition to getting the necessary sleep turns to survive. But then, the real demon comes in. A constant thorn in my side throughout the run, Gengar rears her ugly head once again to try and stop us right at the very end. She nails the first 2 Focus Blasts as I Swords Dance to play around Destiny Bond. She hits a 3rd consecutive Focus Blast and Dom breaks the imaginary Focus Sash with X-Scissor. Now a Bullet Punch clears the screen, but with both of my Pokemon in critical HP while Karen still has 2 remaining in the back, things are not looking good. It's at this point that I'm forced to make a very difficult decision. The only way forward is for Dom to sacrifice herself to protect Sub from harm's way. She goes down a hero as she OHKOs Karen's final 2 Pokemon and is thus left incapacitated for the remainder of the final fight. Karen spits her copy pasta at us as we advance into the final room. Just one fight standing between my Pokemon and the Hall of Fame. Sub would not let her partner's death be in vain. She would continue fighting for the team to ensure that success was had, and a Nuzlocke with every rule ever was beaten. Lance is incredibly tricky. Sure, there are 3 Dragonites that look like tasty cloister treats, but it's getting through those other 3 that pose issues. I know that my 1-win condition is to protect Cloyster and Steelix at all costs, so the first pair up to bat is none other than the one who started it all, Rickles. Well, actually, Ricklet. Surprisingly, Ricklet's able to 1v1 Lance's Gyarados with ease, landing both a Leech Seed and a Sleep Powder to completely neutralize the threat. Rickles desperately tries to get some amount of chip damage in on the incoming Charizard, but falls flat for the first time this run, and I'm forced to say goodbye to our starter who ended up being the secret to this run's success the entire time. Ricklet comes in to avenge her fallen partner and manages to go toe-to-toe with Charizard until inevitably losing her life at the hands of a Charizard Shadow Claw. Witnessing the pair of lovers fall before her very eyes reminds Sub of the scene in the fight prior where Dom so desperately gave her life to advance the run forward. Inspired by those actions, she takes center stage and deals the finishing blow to Charizard, getting an Omni Boost in the process. Sub hangs tight and survives a Rock Slide from Aerodactyl, but she too meets her demise as the second Rock Slide connects, leaving me with just 2 Pokemon against 4. The star-studded pair was now tasked with beating the final few Pokemon. Surely, this run-defining move that has allowed us to sweep through the game will pull through one last time. But Johnson steps up to the plate first, knocking Aerodactyl out of the park and taking a huge chunk out of the first of Lance's 3 Dragonites before falling to Fire Blast, leaving just 1 Pokemon remaining. The only Pokemon that even made this run slightly possible. Skill Link Cloyster. Dragonite's Citrus Berry desperately tries to stop the inevitable, but a 5-hit Icicle Spear is just enough to take down the dragon. And from there, it was over. Virginia was able to outspeed and kill both of his final 2 Dragonites with the one move that had carried the entire challenge on its back. The final 6 had done it. They had led us all the way into the Hall of Fame. Kind of. There's probably a few more of those. You could click on one of these videos if you'd prefer to watch a run where these don't keep popping up on screen.